You know when something just sort of feels appropriate, when you've sort of got a map, you've got a route, and you think, yeah, that seems like the right thing to do. For those of you that don't know, please do check out the More Central recent videos. They're quite important for what I'm hinting at there. But welcome to Star Ferry. Not in real life, as per my previous More Central video, but in the virtual OMSI 2 world, where today we're here with the 2 service, and I thought since I've now done my video of the route in real life, I have been to Hong Kong, I have been on the route in real life, I sampled a B9 up and an E500 coming back down. I thought it might be wise, it might be quite a good opportunity to drive the route virtually again, to sort of see what you notice similarities and differences wise with the route, and hopefully some other discussion points from when I actually went on the route itself, some like little sort of comparable points as well. So for the purposes of this video, I've chosen my favourite Hong Kong vehicle, the B10M Volgren. Unfortunately, there were none of these in use on my visit. That is a shame. I mean, they've all been withdrawn for quite a while now. Unfortunately, the B10TLs are no longer a thing in Hong Kong. I believe the last ones, like the ALX500s, were withdrawn a couple of months before my visit, and the really short ones. That was a shame, but at least I got the older Euro 3 B9s in that I got in weeks before, and they were withdrawn. Again, they'll be coming up in videos on the More Central channel, so do make sure you do subscribe to the More Central channel so you don't miss out on the upcoming content. But for now, I've got a run set up. I am going to redo my blinds because we're sort of pretending that we've just arrived in, we've just offloaded, and what we'll do is we'll make a move round. So yeah, with all the new electric bits and stuff like that, I thought it would be quite nice to just have a little drive of something a little bit older on the route, just to sort of get a bit of a contrast. We'll probably also do a return run on the 2, I think, or potentially some other wrong doors. Potentially some other Hong Kong bits as well, because I do have a couple of maps that I want to drive. As I say, we're now following the theme on this channel, as we are doing on the More Central one. I thought it'd be quite nice to work them alongside each other. And so basically, so you can see the routes that I sample there. You can see which routes you can actually drive in OMSI 2. That I think is hopefully quite beneficial. I'm going to. Oh, it's reloading AI. I only changed it by a minute and 15 seconds, and we've got a load more people. 15 seconds to go. So this basically runs from Kowloon, that is the North Island. That behind us is the South Island, that is actually where I stayed on Hong Kong Island near Central. And this was where I ended up spending most of my time, was over in Kowloon in the Northern Island. Right, I'm going to assume there we go, the traffic lights are on green, they just hadn't loaded. So I must emphasise, for the purposes of realism, this is much more busier in real life. There is a continuous flow of people, continuous flow of vehicles, and it is a lot busier in real life. But the scenery is all still the same. And the route will be as well. So we're turning left onto the main sort of strip, would probably be the best way to put it, in Hong Kong. Well, the bus is hissing. But the bit coming up is sort of like the main strip. It's the main place where sort of all the main shopping precincts are. The majority of the buses shoot up and down here. This is sort of where, especially in the touristy element as well, you sort of base most of your runs, most of your trips and your runs and bits like that from. There is also a Marks and Spencer's up here, so we are going to pass a Marks and Spencer's on the left. something that was really strange going to the other side of the world and sort of walking into a Marks and Spencer's and being able to buy a bag of Percy Pigs was a very, very strange thing. I thought it was absolutely awesome. However, it was a really, really, really strange thing. I just want to make that as a noteworthy point, because there's nothing that can quite prepare you for that. When you go all the way to Hong Kong and just walk into an M&S and it is just like you're at home. It's a very, very, very strange feeling. Hello. I do really like this 0.5 sort of cab view. There's some people that aren't as much of a fan of it as I am, but that is again another reason why I absolutely love driving this vehicle. Is it's sort of this 0.5 camera view that does feel relatively realistic to what the kind of view that you would get driving. That is if you sit a million miles away from the cab. But yeah, I just really like it where you can just sort of see a bit more going on. And I just find it a bit more immersive, really. So my favourite route, I think, in Hong Kong, that went along this road, and I am torn between two. I'll tell you what was my favourite route, and then I'll tell you what was the incredibly close runner-up. So my favourite run was the 219X. Now, I don't want to spoil too much because the videos related to that route haven't released yet on the Ammo Central channel, so I don't want to spoil things, but they are certainly worth watching. But it was the types of vehicles. The 219 was my favourite purely based on the types of vehicles. It had some of the oldest vehicles going, and some of the oldest vehicles running at the time with KMB and running that route on the 219X. It wasn't a busy route either. It was relatively quiet compared to most of the others. That was nice, relatively quiet. And what was good about it was you sort of did this bit up the strip, you turned right, and then you were straight in a dual carriageway for 10 minutes. And then when you got to the other side, you were on it for like another 5 minutes, and then you reached the terminus, and then by the time you got there 10 minutes before the bus in front left, so you'd then just jump on that and go back again. And it ran over 20 minutes, so I think there were about 3 or 4 buses on it rotating round. So it was an absolutely this tremendous way of getting old bits of kit. That again, I'm not going to go into detail because there were a few unique bits as well on there. That again, I am throwing a special focus on the channel, on the Ammo Central channel. But yeah, that was my favourite one. So you will see a fair bit of 219X action, because there was a fair bit of it done. My second route, the runner-up to that, was the 208, and the 208 and probably the 203, because for the sections of route that I did on them both, they both shared the same corridor, the 208 and the 203C. And I liked them because we had all of these other routes with double-deckers. Everything else was using double-deckers, and then you get the 208 and the 203C going up and down here with single-deckers. You get the ASS Enviro 200s that were probably the most monstrous E200s I've ever been on, by a good mile. They had some at Park Island Transit, and again the one that went on there was just amazing. They just had these really big engines on them, so they sounded absolutely tremendous. They really, really did sound good. So I kept going up and down on them. Then they had one of the Scania things that they have over there, the little Diddy Scania buses that I didn't really want to go on one of. I was really chuffed to got one in. They had one of them as well, again, featuring in an upcoming video. And then I also got to go on a unique electric bus, one of these. I think they've only got like 2 of them that were in KMB fleet livery, because obviously they've got all of the new electric buses coming in green. They had two beige liveried ones, I think. And I know I only saw one of them, but I'm pretty certain when I did my research I had about 2. Or one, or it might just be the one actually. But I was lucky enough to sample one of them anyway, on the 203. So it involved a little bit of running. But again, absolutely tremendous motor. It was an older BYD electric bus with bodywork that we haven't seen in the UK, thus why it was of interest to sample. And I thought it was absolutely tremendous. I really, really did. I really did enjoy my ride on it. And it was one of these electric buses where sometimes you do get some electric vehicles that are just dead silent, and it just becomes just a little bit boring. But it was one of these electric vehicles that actually had some girth behind it, actually had like some decent sound with it associated, so it did provide for quite an interesting run. I do need to do some of the other routes on the West Kowloon map. They need to also get the blinds sorted for the AI vehicles. Can't see if it's one of my stops or not, so... The one thing that I must say over everything did surprise me in Hong Kong, and if you do have a visit, it'll be something that will take you by surprise as well. But it was actually... It was the lack of frequency on some of the major corridors. I.e., yes, they have absolutely huge buses, but you'd expect bus services to sort of be every 5 to 10 minutes. And in Hong Kong, they're not. Yes, I understand that traffic dilemmas are a bit more intense over there and bits like that, but their buses were just like, you could wait up to half an hour. For a key corridor bus, you could wait up to half an hour. Nobody had moaned, there wouldn't be any complaining, you'd just be there going, surely there's a bus. And you'd sort of wait, like, obviously in the UK, you used to wait in sort of like 5 to 10 minutes or something like that for one. Although they don't do it as extreme as that, that was again something I saw in Hong Kong where vehicles overtake each other. Vehicles overtake each other on the main corridors and then sort of shove back in. Not as intense as that, like, but that kind of thing does apply. And buses begin to keep left. Sorry. Alright. His brake's a bit harder than even I anticipated. Well, yeah, it just took me by surprise how some corridors you would wait like 20, 30 minutes, and it sort of gave you an idea that the headway was going to be... The headways on key corridor services was sometimes like 30 minutes. And it was really, really weird where you'd sort of think, well, aren't these buses supposedly every 10 minutes? It's clearly the demand, but they seem to choose the higher capacity vehicles over the majority of the corridors running extremely frequent. Like we do, we have smaller vehicles running frequent because of our roads, but because Hong Kong roads are a bit, in areas a bit bigger, not everywhere, but in areas a bit bigger, they can predominantly use triaxle vehicles in the urban dynamic and not run them just as frequent, so balance it out that way. Still took me by surprise though, really did take me by surprise. And then I think another issue was as well was Google Maps would tell you one time, because unfortunately there were no actual timetables at bus stops. It just gave you the headway, so unless you saw the previous bus leave, you didn't know how long you'd be waiting. So again, it was something that was a little bit annoying. Again, was something a little bit annoying. I mean, I was then told about the online timetables and bits like that, that to be fair, for a visit I potentially may do at some point in the future again, will certainly come in handy. Definitely will. But at the end of the day, sometimes with these things, as many of you will know when you've tracked places, you won't know about these things till you've left. So we're in the wrong lane because the bus lane's ended. That'll be fine. It'll be fine. It's very weird not having the dinging on the traffic lights. I don't know what I've done. For those of you that have watched my OMSI2 videos for quite some time, you know that we went through a stage where every single map had those traffic lights and went ding 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 ding. And now I seem to be in a position where none of them do it. So it's really strange dynamic as to what I've achieved. Unintentional, right? But now actually driving the Hong Kong map, the sound's not there. Oh, traffic light camera. City bus van stopped at a green light. I remember this bit because if you jump off here in real life and you go over that in that geographical direction for, roughly speaking, about 5 minutes, you reach one of the model shops in Hong Kong. As I say, to be fair, upon reflection, I did sort of look at the point and go, I've spent a lot of money here. But upon reflection, I probably should have spent even more. Yep, left we go. Because there was just so much good stuff in their model shops. Absolutely so much stuff. Like you couldn't fathom just how much stuff was there, and the selection of items that I got was not even a minuscule fraction of what they had. I waited at this bus stop at the left. I waited here for a bus. I want to say to go up near New Territories, I think. And no, I don't think you couldn't quite grasp just how much stuff they had in those model shops. But it was the fact that unlike what we do in the UK, it wasn't just all focused around high quality die-cast bus models, but they had the larger bus models that were also accurate to a T. They had sort of radio controlled bus models, they had the bus stop flags, they had absolutely everything you could think of they had, because their buses are iconic. You know, it's weird driving this because I do actually remember all of this bit. And then we're going to turn right very soon. We are quite early, as many of you will see. However, I'm not fussed about stopping and waiting and all of that lot. I'm just under the impression that let's just have a little like drive on the run. I don't know what the hissing is that this bus is making. It never used to make that. Sure it didn't. No, I was gutted that I didn't go when they had the B10s. Absolutely gutted, because I would have really enjoyed a ride on one of these. Because I've always been a fan of B10s. Always been a fan of B10s. It would have been really cool to have gone one of these. I mean, we do have a B10TL that has been brought over for preservation. It's currently at Ensign Bus, who are the wizards behind registering Hong Kong vehicles in the UK and refurbishing them to legal standard here and stuff like that. They are the wizards for it, so that's why it's currently at Ensign Bus. However, it is hoped very soon that they'll sort it all out and it may potentially end up at preservation dues and bits like that. But you never know, it might happen. Hopefully will happen. I do think as and when it does, it'd be pretty cool. I can't imagine how much money it's cost them to bring it across. I mean, they're not particularly well known for preservation stuff because of how much it costs to sell the vehicles on, because of the scrappage scheme that they have there to keep the amount of vehicles low and stuff like that. So I can't imagine it was the cheapest investment in the world. However, hopefully it'll be worthwhile. It'll be worthwhile from when they start being able to use it and rally it around the UK. I mean, it'd definitely be, from the enthusiast perspective, it'll be such a cool thing to sort of see, because we do have quite a lot of obviously step entrance Olympians and bits like that, but the low floor stuff from Hong Kong we've never really tapped into that much, so it'll be quite cool to have at least one, possibly even, you never know, at some point, a couple of different examples from the Hong Kong world low floor vehicles running around in preservation in the UK. Yeah, we are running quite early. Quite early. Oops. The mirrors are absolutely tiny in the 0.5 camera. Hey, I can hear him. They're just very faint, very quiet. That's cool, I like that. I don't remember the right turn being this far down, but I do remember, however, when you do turn right, it's about a minute or two away from the terminus. Because the 2 was one of the... I'm putting the videos out with sort of the order in which they were filmed, so you've noticed sort of the exploration getting a bit more and more as the series goes on. But the 2 was one of the very, very, very first routes I went on. I caught a bus over to Kowloon and then jumped on the 2. And that was it. That was like the first proper bus run for me to do was the 2 service. All the other ones I'd only done a couple of minutes out of the hotel or over to Kowloon and bits like that. So the 2 was the first proper bit of bus run I did, and it was very, very nice. Very, very nice was the 2 route, and I think it's you were that mesmerised by that much all the other bits going over in Hong Kong. I mean, it's like parts of this route I can remember to a T, and parts of it I'm just looking going, I don't remember this. And that's because you were that busy, obviously, oohing and ahhing at everything you went past, because it's just a totally different world, totally different culture. You just didn't notice, you just didn't think. I mean, I do also remember the humidity. I mean, the day I'm filming this, it is scheduled to be 25 degrees today. So it's wham, but it's not as humid as it was in Hong Kong. I don't think anything can match the humidity that was witnessed in Hong Kong during mine and Henry's visit. It was incredibly humid. Oh, this is going well. Cars in the road. Yay. Oh, it's an MTR station. It's an MTR station. Again, bits I never used to really look at before, but now I do. Again, that I think is quite cool with things like this. When you do actually travel to said location, it does really enhance your experience and, as I say, your interest in said location. No, I probably wasn't supposed to do that particular straightforward in a left turn, but hey ho, we still did it. Oh, that was a little. That wasn't a curve. That was just a lean and a half. Is what that was. I looked. I was like, are we on the curve? And then no, we're not. The bus is just leaning. Is that everybody? Oh no, I've got one person for the terminus. We are going to ignore the fact that that is saying we're 17 minutes early, and we are going to ignore that. I mean, that is obviously to the realistic traffic levels and passenger levels and bits like that, and because it's OMSI 2, and I have the settings slightly lower generally, to make sure that the high detailed maps can work and I don't have to sacrifice some detail. We've had a much quicker run than the usual real-life timetable would have permitted. This is always the way. We are 2 stops from the terminus and the lights are on red. Always the way. Must have literally just missed them. Must have just missed these lights. There we go.
Fahren Sie mal vernünftig hier.
It's fine. Yeah, of course we are ever so slightly too early. Just ever so slightly. I remember this off face, it had all the KMB stuff on it. There we go, we'll get a nice screenshot. And then what blinds do we actually have on? Oh, we don't have. I was hoping we'd have 793 on, because that was the route that everything seemed to rotate on here. No, we don't have the blinds. Well, I'll put it on a blank screen then. But anyway, that was the 2 from Staff Editor Souk in the sort of West Kowloon map. You can download the map for free. It is probably the best, most well-known Hong Kong map to drive. You can drive it for free. Unfortunately, the vehicle's no longer a public release. However, there are other vehicles you can drive on this. There's loads of ADLs, Volvos, bits like that. And so there's plenty of vehicles to drive in it. I will do the return journey as well if people are interested in that. I might see if I can get a B9 for that one, and we'll see how we go. But for now, I really hope you've enjoyed this one. If you had, then do be sure to click that like button so that more people can find it and enjoy like you have. If you haven't already, do be sure to subscribe to the More Boss Videos YouTube channel for more content like this from the simulation section with OMSI 2 videos up to twice a week, availability permitting. And do make sure you do subscribe to the More Central YouTube channel, my main YouTube channel, for more content from our very exciting Hong Kong series that's currently being released. Once again, I'd like to thank you all for watching. I really hope you've enjoyed this one, and I will see you all in the next video I make. Goodbye for now. Bye.